Hi, lovely ladies and gentlemen of Heal from the Inside Out group. How are you doing? So excited for you all. I will see if any of you are around. Okay. Some of you are coming on. How are you doing? Saba, how are you doing? How are you finding this experience? Hi, Joe. Who else is in the house? Someone else is in the house. And my camera is kind of yucky. Sorry. Let's just see if that works. It's a little more clear. There we go. Okay, let me just make sure. I think I'm in the right group. Nicole is in the house. Okay. How am I going? So, ladies, any new awarenesses? Any new shifts? What's going on? How did you enjoy yesterday? I know there was a lot of information to take in the last 3 days. Today is day 4. We're done already. Sad. Okay, let me see if there's any comments coming in. Because again, it's not coming in on my tablet. Rebecca's in the house. Yay, your first live. Alicia's in the house. She had a massage earlier. Follow up with mammogram, which was negative. Yay! Great. Oh, sorry. It's day 4. We're done already. Let me just see what else is coming up. Okay. Saba's doing good. Excellent. Any lessons learned? Any aha moments? What's coming up for you ladies? Today's gonna be big. So I just wanna get all of that out of the way. Doing the homework, checking out your mind chatter through the week, writing it down, trying to process it, change your belief system, reframing it. What's going on? Mammogram. Oh dear. Yay! Great. Okay. So I'll have to do it on the computer. That sucks. It really does, because I've got my notes pulled up and I'm gonna need them today to keep me on track. Excuse me. Sorry, just trying to find your comments so I can. Okay, Alicia hasn't had a chance to watch yesterday's, but will tonight, no problem. Rebecca has to watch day 1 through 3. And Joe's feeling into the feeling of vulnerability. Yeah. And allow yourself to be supported through that, Joe. Because vulnerability gets a bad rap. It feels unsafe. It feels judgmental, or a possibility of judgment by others. But how much are you judging yourself? And then it also is deemed weak. And actually, if you're vulnerable, you're using your full expression, your full voice, and that's where some big transformational changes will happen. So allow it to pass to and through you. It doesn't have to be who you are. It's just, again, a moment in time. And that vulnerability is probably layered for you. It's not just one situation or one circumstance. It's a lot of different experiences. We just want to embrace them all. Allow them to come. Okay. One last check on comments. Oh yeah, especially for men. Oh yeah, totally. I was talking to this gentleman last week who was in a narcissistic marriage, and his wife and brother-in-law used to physically beat him up, put him in the hospital. So how do you, I mean, anybody would feel vulnerable with that. But to be a man on top of it, can't even imagine. Like your confidence, your ego, your pride, all of it must be just wreaking havoc. Nicole is saying, had a really positive day. Work was good. I felt good, although I'm utterly exhausted now tonight. So the exhaustion is not unusual because you're making shifts. You're making changes. It's now integrating. And when it's integrating, then that's where the fatigue steps in and makes a big difference. Sorry. Again, let me just get my notes, pull them up. And if I don't see your comments, then I apologize in advance and I'll circle back. Okay, so for tomorrow, I put the link in the page on the page if you want to join me for live Q&A, and then I have an offer for you at the end and my services, and we'll have a little discussion on that if you want to stay for that part of it. And if you're not going to be able to join us live, then please put your question in that thread so that you're going to actually be able to get your being coached through your question. So it's question or clarity around any of the information so far. Maybe there's some uncertainty, or you're just feeling a little out of sorts with certain things. Whatever's coming up for you, there's no right or wrong. I'm willing to answer them all. I will go for an hour. So if for some reason I go into a bit of a tangent and I didn't answer all the questions, then I will either try to respond in text, or I'll put a little live in just to answer it so that you're all being met. Okay? So today, transcend the trauma that caused the pain. So if you're aware, a baby elephant can be tied to a pole, a stump, a stick, whatever it is, and it allows the baby elephant to go a certain radius. And in that radius, the person will be able, or the elephant will be able to move to get water, to get food, whatever they're looking for. And as they get older and they get stronger, Louisa's in the house. Hi, lovely. And they don't know that because they've gotten stronger and older and they've become an adult, they don't know that they're strong enough to pull at that rope to break their ties. So they stay stuck and they stay in that radius. So where in your life are you doing the same thing? Because we can all change, we can all grow, we can all evolve, and we can break the chains. And that is the truth. There's no doubt in my mind that the chains can be broken. So this is when we're in survival mode. We're in fight, flight, and freeze on a constant basis. We're not moving forward. We're staying stuck. We're maybe even going backwards into the ego, into that comfort zone that we talked about the other day, into the trauma, into the struggle and the chaos and all the things. So where in your life are you doing that? It could be with your money. It could be in a relationship. It could be with your health. It could be with your success. It could be with your business, maybe your workplace. It could be a relationship with children, your parents, your partner. Where? And then we want to realize that it's just ego. Ego is trying to keep us safe. That's its job. And we can move even if ego is telling us not to. And I mentioned the other day where ego kept pulling me back and my higher self was like, no, it's okay. Keep going. Pulling me back. No, it's okay. You've got this. You've got this. You can go. So we still want to move. And we want to move through things. So if we're now in this new awareness and this understanding, then we just want to become the investigator. Oh, or get curious. I wonder why I'm doing that. Is that helpful? No. Is that going to help me move forward? No. Why am I doing it? Well, maybe it's because you're staying safe, or maybe there's a story around it, or maybe there's a belief around it, and then you're going to unravel the belief and reframe it. So we want to know that these things can shift, can change. You are not your emotions, your conditions, your disease, your anything. It is a moment in time. Unless we keep in the resistance, and then it could be more than a moment. But it's going to be a period of time. So who feels like they're living their life as an adult elephant with that string attached to them? Put 1 in the comments. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to give you the definition of transcend so we're still on the same page. And it means to go beyond the range or limits of anything. So it's that space where we're kind of in the middle of, we've got a little bit of fear, but it's kind of exciting too because, oh my gosh, I'm going to be breaking through this, or I'm going to be creating this, or I'm going to be doing this. And you've got some trepidation wrapped around the excitement. That is when things are really going to shift for you. We've got to move past the fear. And our body will signal us through the pain. So if you're mentally, emotionally, physically in pain, doesn't matter where, doesn't matter what kind of pain, it is a signal that something is wrong, that you're out of alignment. That's all it means. And all it has to mean. Again, we wrap emotions around these things. If I were to, so I've had multiple scares with precancer cells. And I walk out of the doctor's office, and I remember the last time I had a pap smear, and I was really frustrated because it was like every 3 months or so I was getting these. Now I look back and I see it's probably because of my marriage and all the stress and strain and aggravation that I was going through. Some of it was diet, which I changed. And some of it was stress, which I changed as best as I can. And so we want to see that there's a reason for something. It's not random. It's not just because. There's a reason for it. And if we look at it that way, then we can start to unravel. So be aware that sometimes, especially if you've got an illness, condition, or disease, it's not because of something you've done today. It's something that happened possibly 2 or 3 years ago. So there was probably a trauma or some kind of major trigger that caused a heightened emotional response and reaction within you, gets locked in at the cellular level, and then you're feeling out of sorts. You're triggered, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling stressed out, and your body's not able to bring itself down into a balance. It can be as that simple. So when we have a car and we have the check light engine in our cars and it goes off, do we ignore it? Sometimes we do, just to see if it's actually an issue with the car or if it's the light or whatever. And most of the time we'll bring it into the mechanics to then check and see what's wrong, because we'd rather do that than have the car break down or create a different problem or a worse problem. So why don't we do that with our bodies, our minds, and our emotions? We're ignoring it, pushing it under the rug, dismissing it, amplifying it, because we allow it to build. We've got to treat our bodies better, and our minds and our emotions. If something is out of balance, you're out of alignment with your soul self, with that being that wants the best for you inside of you. You're not coming from love anymore, and that's okay. Again, it's your internal system that's trying to bring you back and telling you something's wrong. I am convinced, well, all conditions and diseases, I've worked with a couple people who have had cancer and they've healed. And they've healed because they've come back to self. They've come back to alignment. They've come back to love. They've taken care of themselves. They're loving on themselves. They're feeling good about themselves. They're processing their emotions better. They're more in alignment with who they are. They know what they want and they're going after it. So we can be the same thing. We don't have to be that adult elephant that's staying stuck because they don't know how strong they are. So most of the time, that physical pain is due to the stored emotions and feelings. In my 30 years of experience within the wellness field, this is what I now know. There's not a doubt in my mind. We have to feel the feelings. So the concept of tissue memory says that the body's cells and tissues have the ability to retain memories of trauma, including the emotional environment present for the person around the time of the trauma. And these memories are explicitly stored in the tissues, not in the nervous system, in the actual physical tissues. So keep in mind the fundamentals, laws of science, and it's understood that all things are matter and made up of vibrating particles and energy, and everything is energy. Absolutely everything. Your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your stories, your beliefs are all energy. They're giving out a frequency. They're giving out a vibration. And what did we learn the other day with law of manifestation? It's going to attract back to you. So if you're in a positive state, everything's going well, life is good in most of your areas of your life, what's going to come back? You know, you have those flow states where money's flowing, clients are flowing, relationships are good, everything's good. And you're like, whoa! And we also have the reverse, where bills are piling up and, oh my God, my dog died, and then the house caught on fire and I'm homeless, and, you know, the old country and western songs. Oh, yay! I can see messages now. Alicia's saying being in the tissues is why myofascial release therapy is so effective for you. Yep. Anna Louise is saying yes. Sorry. I'm writing my story from a different vibration. Excellent. So we want to know that it's about magnetics. We're attracting to us. So are we attracting positives or are we attracting negatives? Energy cannot be created or destroyed, but it can be converted, transformed, or transfigured, and can be filtered, cleansed, and transformed into positive energies. So there's a life force energy in you. And if your life force energy is low, you're feeling sick, or you're sick frequently, or you feel stress, then your life force energy is low. If it's high, then we're more capable of being happy and healthy. Tap into the unlimited supply of life force energy to improve your health. So there's a study by Heart Math Institute by two doctors called Lloyd and Johnson. And those who have been in my previous programs would know this. They had people holding test tube in their hands, instructed the individual to think painful thoughts, destructive memories, and just stay in that energy. They took the DNA out of the test tube, put it under the microscope, and it had been damaged. They took the same DNA, put it back in the test tube, and the individual holding the test tube was asked to think of good memories and happy thoughts, and they took the DNA out and examined it again, and it had a healing effect on the DNA. So it's not genetic, it's not DNA, it's not generational. Maybe it started like that because there's a thought in the back of your mind. There's been a lot of people that I've talked to over the last year about that. My mom and my sister have anxiety. So do I. That's normal, right? No. They bought into their symptoms, and they haven't been paying attention to why they have it. And it's surrounded you, and you've been sold a bill of goods that because they have it, you're going to have it. Or you have this thought that because they have it, you're going to have it. It's not guaranteed. My dad died when he was 55 years old. And when I turned 55 last February, I had a freak out moment because I'm like, oh my God, maybe it's my time. And then I coach myself through it, realizing that I eat better than he does. I exercise more than he ever did. I know better physically, mentally, and emotionally how to deal with stress. So it's not guaranteed. I have huge health history in my dad's side of the family with heart issues. And I do what I can in my part in order for me not to be part of that statistic. And not all the uncles or the aunts have had issues. So Rebecca's saying your doctors cannot find why my fluid is coming from. I was diagnosed with lymphedema, lipedema, have been diagnosed with anxiety as well. So Rebecca, you may not want to hear this, but if the doctors are saying they don't know why, it's because you don't actually have a physical issue. It's an emotional one. You're holding on. Fluid is holding on. It's accumulating. It's like a balloon. And I've given this analogy before, where you blow in the balloon, it expands a little bit. And then there is all the negative emotions and feelings and thoughts and stories and beliefs. And it's circulating in there. And you blow the balloon a little bit more, and more emotions, thoughts, feelings, stories, and beliefs are in there. And you go a little bit more, and you're on that cusp just before it bursts. And we have two choices. We can let the valve out and allow it to shrink, or we can blow it up again, take our chances, and then it pops. The body will give eventually if we're not dealing with what we need to deal with, if we're not healing what we need to heal. If the doctors are telling you there's no reason why this is happening, it's not a question in my mind. It's because there's stored emotions in your body that are just eating you up, and it's coming out somehow, and for you it's the fluid. You can take that with a grain of salt, or you can believe it. So everyone's health is based on unimpeded flow of energy in your body. Illness is due to a blockage or imbalances of the flow of energy. Fear is the energy that contracts and restricts and closes down. And appreciation is the energy that expands and opens up and is flowing and is ease. It's a beautiful state of being. So get more into appreciation, more into gratitude. Stop looking at what is. What is taking you away from what can be. Oh, somebody write that down. Please. I like that. This channeling business is working today. Saba's saying, how do we know if one is traumatized by what? Well, Saba, usually you have a sense of what you've been traumatized by, and it's not necessary to know the what, especially if you've had multiple traumas. So it's not necessary to do that work. Actually, that's not even your work. When you're going through your experience, your healing experience, it will start to rise. And sometimes you think it's one thing and it's another, which is always amazing. When I was going through my healing process, and there were some things that were coming up, and I thought it was more about my parenting, my parents and stuff like that. And I realized it was about my ex-husband. Which makes sense, but at the time, my human self thought it was one thing and it was another. And it could be just an accumulation of stress. We've had a lot of stress over the last couple of years, especially with the pandemic. And then the wars, and then the economy, and the. Our body's meant to release the stress, not keep it. So though the body appears to be solid, it is a field of energy. And this field extends outward from your visible body, known as the auric field. And life experiences can create congestion or depletion in the auric field. And I don't know if you've ever heard of a leaky bucket where your auric field is expanded, but there's leaks. It's the wobbles in your beliefs, in your stories, in your thoughts, in your feelings. By allowing the energy to flow freely, self-healing mechanisms are activated. So by default, your body is built to support health, harmony, connection between all parts. So why do we get sick and develop a disease or an illness that won't easily go away? If our bodies are meant to support vitality and healing, then why doesn't it just happen right away? So the chemicals that are running in our bodies and our brains are the same chemicals that are involved in emotion. And we better pay attention, more attention to the emotions with respect to health. Under the influence of massive amounts of contraction, our cells begin to function inefficiently. Hi, Lincoln. How are you, lovely? And since empaths have a tendency to be hypersensitive to others' emotions, especially negative ones, then we must be extra vigilant. The emotional charge resulting from the accumulation of all of this negativity is blocking the receptor sites of your cells from receiving the message to upkeep basic functions. So this is why when I do my energy healing session, I go into the cells and I'm going into the organs and the tendons and the ligaments and the nerves and the muscles and the bones and the blood and the lymph, because it's all part of it. It all retains it. Pain, discomfort, stress, or feeling off are just some of the ways your body is attempting to get your attention to tell you why you're feeling off. Your body is an infinite intelligence and intellect. Your computer, your brain, though might be a great computer, is not your intelligence. Your body holds all your experiences, all your history. And when you're disconnected to your body and staying fully in your computer brain head, you lose connection to your power. Hi, Lizzie. You may look like you're functioning, but the truth is you're going through life being led around by the nerve-ending dysfunctional behavioral patterns programmed into your brain. Connect to your body, and if you don't, then there's an issue. Good. I'm glad it makes sense, Joe. As soon as you get that your body knows what is going on and your computer brain doesn't, you can begin to get to the core of the issues that are causing your physical disruptions in your body. The core of pain is the big emotional root cause. It is your emotional body that makes you ill and causes your body disease. Emotional attachments to the past are a huge factor in how you process your life, your health, and what you create as illness. Remember, you did not do anything wrong. You're not bad. You're not less than. You're not any of these hurtful labels. But addressing the core issue of illness is not to create another label, but to give you the tools to become non-emotional observers. My issue totally, Anna Louise was saying. Go inside yourself. Even putting your hand on your heart and a hand on your belly and breathing, taking those nice deep belly breaths. You can go for a count of 4 or 5. You're inhaling for 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, pausing for 4. And you're just going to ask your body, what do I need? What does it want? What can I give it right now in this moment? Or you can put your hand on the area that is in pain, whether it's your heart from emotions, or your brain from mental stress, or maybe your liver, which stores a lot of emotions. Start talking to the body. Ask your body in the area that is defined as sick what it's telling you. Everything I have read when it comes to emotions and sickness and illness and disease, all say that the body knows the answer. It's all within us. Everything we want, we need, is all within us. We have an inner physician, and we're disconnecting, and we're putting too much trust in society, too much trust in doctors and physicians and pharmacies, and thinking that they know best, and they don't. They will try to help you just like everybody else, like I will, but we're giving up our power to other people, and that's not good. So as long as the cell has plenty of positive energy, it's healthy. If it doesn't have enough energy, or it's infected with negative energy, it starts to become unhealthy. So I had a private client, and she was, she had gone through a lot of trauma. She was physically, mentally, emotionally, and sexually abused as a young child, and by her mother and an uncle, and there wasn't a lot of processing. She became a therapist, psychologist, I believe, so she was doing a lot of the work, and she was able to get herself, so in her 20s she had an IUD, and the IUD was left in a year longer than it should have been, and she ended up with mercury poisoning. It actually crippled her to the point where she had to be in a wheelchair. And with all the work she'd been doing mentally, emotionally, and physically, and then she was working with physical therapists, she was able to walk, but she had those double crutches where it had like the bracing on the forearm. But she wanted better. IUD. It's like an internal birth control. And so her goal was to be able to walk with the assistance only of her husband. 2 sessions we were able to do that. So all of a sudden she's like, damn, if I can do this in 2 sessions, what can I do with more? And by the end of our time together, she was able to walk down the road by herself, unassisted, to the pharmacy and back. And hadn't done that in over 10 years. So it can happen for all of us. And the biggest thing was her releasing a lot of the stored emotions. We did this one session, it was almost at the end, and her legs were like this big factor and focus on the energy clearing. And she had so much anger towards her legs, and so much hate, and she had also been really angry with the doctors for not listening to her, and then she was angry at herself for not making sure that they listened to her. It was this constant thing. And when we released that, she had such big and vast improvements. And I think after 2 more sessions, that's when she was walking down the street. Our emotions are our guidance system. Feel bad, you're out of alignment. Feel bad, you're out of harmony. Feel good, you're in alignment. Feel joyful, you're in alignment. Feel satisfied, you're in alignment. Satisfaction is what we need to strive for. Have a satisfying day. So, we're going to shift a little bit to forgiveness, because this is a big factor as well. When another person hurts us, it can change everything for us. Whether it's short-term, long-term, it doesn't really matter. Long-term, definitely makes it worse because you've been experiencing for longer, and it's getting stored. More is getting stored in your bodies. So sometimes the hurt is so very deep. And when a spouse or a parent betrays our trust, or when you are victims of crime, or when we've been harshly bullied, anyone who has suffered these kinds of hurts knows the inner world is badly disrupted. And it's difficult to concentrate on anything else other than the turmoil and pain. And remember, the name of the class is Heal from the Inside Out. So we want to see what the outside world has created for us and where we need to heal the inside in order to change what the outside world looks like. So when we hold on to the hurt, we are emotionally and cognitively hobbled, and our relationships suffer. So forgiveness is important for this. And when life hits us hard, there is nothing as effective as forgiveness for healing deep wounds. And forgiveness is about goodness, about extending mercy to those who've harmed us. And even if they don't deserve it, all our transgressors do not deserve our forgiveness. But the forgiveness is not about them. It's about us. It's letting go of the pain, of what they've done to us, of our reaction and our feelings and our thoughts and our stories and beliefs that we've created around it. It's not about finding excuses for the offending person's behavior or pretending it didn't happen, nor is there a quick formula that you can follow. Forgiveness is a process with many steps and often proceeds in a non-linear fashion. I had a friend of mine who was, she was physically abused, sexually abused, and traumatized by her mother's husband, so her stepfather. And mom used to drink a lot, and she was abused physically as well. And so she had blocked out this memory of what had gone on for her daughter. And when she found out initially, she actually did something about it by kicking out the husband. But then she denied it many, many years later, and she brought it up. And my friend kept saying, you know, my mother's not understanding, my mother's not seeing my side, my mother's, you know, this, and my mother's that. And I said, it's not going to happen. So are you going to stay stuck still and hold her responsible forever, which keeps you in the trauma, which gives her power, which doesn't allow you to be better? Or are we going to forgive, release it, and let it go? It's not always that simple. So I'm not belittling anybody or anything. You're on your own journey. You'll get there eventually. And I really believe that the full moon and the new moon are the best times to do that. And the full moon is on the 25th, so it's coming up. So I would write a letter to the person or persons that have slighted you or traumatized you or abused you. And you're going to free-form the letter. You're going to go to town. Do not filter it at all. You're going to just, I hate you, I feel this, I feel that, you've done this, I've done that, you blah, blah, blah. Go to town. You have permission. And then you want to tear it up, you want to bury it, or you want to burn it. Whatever comfortable, just do burning safely, please. Don't want you coming back saying, Tina told me to, and I burned the house down. No, don't do that. And then you're going to set the intention that I'm releasing and letting go of the power and the control that this has over me. Taking some nice deep breaths and let the moon energy do its job. We're choosing to stay traumatized. And I know it's not an easy thing to hear, but it is a choice. So my dad and I had this kind of weird relationship, and I still kept a relationship with him, and I lived with him after university for a couple of years. And something happened, I can't remember exactly when. Yeah, full moon release, Lizzie. And so I was really upset about whatever the thing was. And I said to Elton at the time, I'm disconnecting my relationship from him. So I did. And I felt good about it. And he asked me how I was. And I said I was not going to give him any more power or control over me. And I let it go. I didn't hold any grudge or malice or hurt or pain or any of it, because he was taking more from me if I stayed in that. And he was hurting me over and over and over again, not because he was doing it. Now I was doing it to myself. And ask yourself why you're holding on to it. It's serving a purpose. And again, there's no criticism, there's no judgment. It's just awareness. It's just an understanding. It's a perspective shift. Is this resonating with you, ladies? Okay. Last piece. Acceptance. So we want to accept where we are right now. Our human, our little girl, little boy inside of us has gotten us where we are now. And we've done the best we can. Now, we're going to do better and be better. If we choose. We don't have to. We can stay back there. We can stay in the stuckness. We can stay in the trauma. Starting fresh today where I am. Yes. But we've got to accept and be in gratitude of where we are before we can make the shifts to actually move forward. Because if we're railing, so this is a great analogy that a coach I was taking a program with last week. So she said, if you're in Bristol, which is in the UK, and you're putting in your sat nav, your navigation, your GPS, where you want to go, and where you want to go is London, but you keep saying, well, I want to be in London, I want to be in London, I want to be in London, but you're not accepting that you're in Bristol right now, and you have a journey that you need to go to in order to get to London. But we stay so focused on the destination sometimes that it keeps us from moving forward, keeps us from actually advancing, because we're not accepting where we are. We're pissed off at ourselves because we should be further along. We should have healed better, faster, stronger. Why aren't we doing this? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going through that. And I've done it all. So again, there's no judgment or criticism. It's what we do. And the more we're aware, then we can make those shifts. It doesn't feel good when you let them off and get away with it. Ooh, Saba, I don't disagree with you. And if you stay in that energy, then you're hurting yourself more. because they don't care. That's the God's honest truth. They do not care. Or they don't even know. They're not even aware that they've hurt you. How many times does that happen? You confront a friend years later because you were so pissed off because of something they said and did, and you thought you were so grudge and you didn't have any relationship with them, and then you finally decide, okay, I'm going to talk to them. They haven't got a clue what you're talking about. Because for them, it went out of their head. Just like for my friend, she disassociated from that because the trauma was too great. And she couldn't accept her role in it. And if you're in a narcissistic relationship, they will never, ever, ever, ever acknowledge it. They will not give you what you think you need. They won't. My ex-husband now is saying that the house and the land are his. Locked me out of my own yard. Changed the locks on my office. That he actually changed his designs, his plans for the house when I met him. I've paid most of the mortgage. And now it's his and his alone. Because his name is on the title. And I didn't know that because my name's not on the title, that if we put a house on the land, it is actually his. But how do you deny that? How do you deny my play and role in that? And I can stay angry and I can stay in the should-haves and could-haves and whatevers. And now I'm just like, it is what it is. It will unfold as it should. This pain that you're feeling is an opportunity for you to heal, to get better, to release it, to let it go, and be who you're meant to be. Don't let them keep you stuck. They win again. They win again. My mom and I had some issues at one point, and there was my brother was buying a house, and my mother had, no, they don't pay back. No, karma will take care of that. And listen, karma is taking care of my ex-husband. He's got more aches and pains than anybody else I know right now. And he'll continue to have aches and pains. They're not happy with who they are. And they're not happy with their lives. So trust that everything's going to work out. So when my brother bought the house, she had promised me money, Elton and I, to help us with our buying a building in Toronto for my clinic. And so they go off to the lawyers, and only for my brother and his wife to find out that they didn't do their due diligence on the contract, and they weren't aware that they needed to pay the lawyer's fees and the real estate fees, and they didn't put it in their mortgage. So now he had 10 grand that he had to come up with. And so my mom gave the money to my brother that she promised me. I was so flippin' angry, and Elton was really angry, and not just at them, but at me too. Because I kept saying, yeah, she's solid. And so I didn't talk to her for 6 months, maybe a year. And I let her back in, but I also wrote her a letter, and she was in total denial. So it's like, well, what's the point? I give up. I cannot, it's yours. You own it, whether you want to or not, but I'm releasing myself from the situation. We're not hurting them. We're hurting ourselves. Even if you forgive them, karma will get them. Saba, I can honestly tell you, I've had 3 situations, in my lifetime where I've seen karma come back and bite the person in the butt that's hurt me. So I will say yes. And it may not be this lifetime, it could be another lifetime. Or it could be their children. Or it could be someone else that they're close to. It will come back. But know that you're releasing and forgiving and letting go because it's for you, not for them. It's for you. Because now you're free. Now you're not stuck in the past. Now they're not re-traumatizing you. Now you're not going in your head about it all the time. Letting it go. And just have a neutral feeling towards them. So accept where you are. The truth is that they're waiting for us to align to it. Success, wealth, life, love, deeper connections with family and friends. And that is our birthright. So we've come to the physical world to learn the lessons, to heal, to evolve, to remember the truth of who we are without all the crap that is layered upon us. I was in my marriage for 22 years. And it took me about 1.5 years, 2 years to really do some deep healing. And now I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm in a relationship that could be really amazing. So we want to allow ourselves, this is the gift to ourselves, not to anybody else. This is a gift to ourselves. When we aren't forgiving them, we have an emotional connection, a cord of energy that goes from them to you that keeps us in that stuck energy. So when I do the work with my clients, we're cutting those cords because they're not helping and they're not healthy. And it's going to keep you stuck, hold you back, debilitate you mentally, emotionally, or physically. And it can be a hard pill to swallow, Joe. So sit with it. And again, you'll know when you're ready to do it. It's going to take a time and some healing and processing. So you might want to journal about it. Do these things over the next couple of months with the new moon and the full moon. Write all the stuff. And you'll notice in your writing, you're going to be less angry and less bitter. And less resentful, and less frustrated. And then one full moon or one new moon, you'll be like, oh, I don't have anything to say. Because you've forgiven them and let them go. But when we're holding on to these things, it only hurts us. And they win again, is how I look at it. So we need to stop seeing ourselves as victims and everything is happening to us and shift that energy for everything is happening for us. So if you've got that mentality, it's happening for me, then what is the lesson that you can learn from that? What are the experiences that you can learn from that? I mentioned that I have a post and I've got like 10 or 15 different things that I took from my marriage and the struggle and the strife and the frustration and the hurt and the pain. But this is because I've healed and I've gotten to the other side. Now I can see all the good things that came out of it. I'm in my personal power more than I ever have been. I set boundaries now. He doesn't dictate to me because he can't. I don't tolerate that anymore. He can't manipulate me. He can't hurt me. He can call me all sorts of names and he can create this trauma and he does not affect me. Even when he locked me out of my gate, I had an hour of really getting angry because I can't believe he was doing it. talked to a couple friends, they calmed me down, and I was back doing the master class the next day. Sab is saying what to write. Haven't started yet. So you can just free flow. Maybe even start with, I have no idea what to write. I'm really pissed off. I'm angry. I can't believe this has happened to me. This person did this. That person did this. I hate them. I'm so angry. I'm so pissed off. I'm so this. I'm so that. I'm so this. I'm so that. Allow the feelings to come through. Rise and then pass, and writing it, let it go. You'll know once you start putting pen to paper and you get those 3 words out. I don't know what to write, or 4 words. And then you think about that person or that situation or circumstance. You'll be going to town because it wants releasing. It's that balloon. So you're going to pop. And some of my clients cut themselves because they haven't allowed themselves that release. Or you're going to allow the valve to come out and the emotions to come and shrink and let it go and dissolve into nothing. It's our choice. It really is. And if you're looking at things through the lens of everything's happening for you, then it makes a big difference. I feel complete, ladies and gentlemen, those watching the replay. Thank you for joining me this week. I am honored and privileged to have guided you through some new awarenesses and understandings. I hope it helped and gave you some value. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put it in that thread that I put up for tomorrow if you can't make it live. And if you can make it live, please come. It's in Zoom and it's going to be awesome. So bring your questions with you. It'd be nice if you could write them down too, unless it's too personal and you prefer not to, then I'll honor that. And we'll do an hour. And then if you want to work with me further, then we'll talk about that during the call as well and what that looks like. So so the replays are going to be up until next Friday. So I encourage you to go back over them, because you hear things differently. You're a different person now than you stepped in 4 days ago. There's not a doubt in my mind, because I've gone through this. I listened to the program I bought last week over again, and there were new awareness that I'm like, I didn't even remember hearing her talk about this. Maybe I was distracted, or I was focused on writing my notes. Sorry. Somebody passing with that really loud stereo. And so I was just writing, and then I was just brought to a new awareness. And sometimes we're not ready if we're not ready the first time around, we're listening for that new awareness, because we can't comprehend it, we can't hear it, we can't feel it. And that's okay. There again, no judgment, no criticism. It's just we're becoming aware and having new understandings. If you have any aha moments and you really feel like this has really helped you, I'd really appreciate it if you put it in the group as well. You can either put it in that thread with the Q&A, that's fine, or you can put like just a private post. Joe says, when we did the visualization with the golden light, I saw the gold seeping into my scars and wounds. How awesome is that? How awesome is that? You're healing and you don't even realize, Joe. That's amazing. So towards the end of my relationship with Elton, I was feeling like every hurt word, angry voice, all of it was like just little slashes all over my body. And I'm aware that there's healing powers with shapes. And there's another word they call it, and I can't think of what it is right now. So I had put a pyramid, I was guided to put a pyramid around me at nighttime and just set the intention of being healed. And I could see all the scars, emotional, mental scars that were on my body, glow gold, and leave my physical body. And I trusted that it was no longer part of it. So you can even try that for yourself tonight and see what happens. So know that everything is for you. This healing process is part of your journey. You can choose to move through it, or it allow you to keep you where you are and keep you there for a long time. You're welcome, Lizzie. You're welcome, Joe. Again, thank you very much. It was my honor and privilege to be here to help share this information with you. And I hope to see you tomorrow in the afternoon. It's going to be the same time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. GMT time, and it'll be on Zoom. So the link is in the group. I also created an event, I believe, and the link is in the event section. So if you want to join that, you're welcome, Nicola. And any aha moments or anything, I'd really love it if you put it in the group, and it just helps me see what was connecting, what was relatable, what was, new understandings that you're aware of, because then I know to keep that information in the next masterclass that I hold for the future. So it just makes a big difference. Helps me. See you tomorrow, Joe. Have a good night, ladies, gentlemen. Take care. Bye.